This is the Tom Bigby Tales. I'm your host, Shannon Evans. I write about a small town in northeast Mississippi called Columbus, and sometimes I write about the rest of the state. This is episode 14 in the series on the Columbus Housing Authority, and this is titled Consultant and Money Management Questions. In the intricate landscape of Mississippi's coastal governance, a nuanced and potentially problematic network of professional relationships has emerged within Gulfport's municipal leadership. This investigative analysis that I'm in at the moment is going to dig into the interconnected roles of City Councilman Rusty Walker, who is also a consultant for the Columbus Housing Authority, and the new mayor-elect, Hugh Keating. And I'm going to expose some complex terrain of potentially ethical challenges and, if nothing else, systemic governance vulnerabilities. Rusty Walker, aka Ferdinand Walker, or FB Walker, is a city councilman in Gulfport, Mississippi, and is the president of their board of councilmen. He is good friends with the recently elected mayor, Hugh Keating. Keating is a partner with the attorneys Dukes, Keating, and Fantasia. For the past 40 years, per a recent interview of Keating with WXXV, Keating has been acting in the role of a contracted general counsel for the city, advising them on zoning issues, HR, debt financing, budgets, land deals, and contracts. He will be sworn in as their new mayor in either the end of June or the beginning of July. It is interesting to find the interconnectedness of Walker, his father Ferdy, and Keating. Ferdy, Hugh Keating, loaned Rusty's sister Stacy Walker Seal, and I presume her husband or partner, Jeffrey Howard Leverton, $152,000 for the purchase of a home, I believe, if the deed is correct that I'm reading. They loaned them $152,000 at 5% interest, and Keating is listed as a trustee as recently as a document that is in Harrison County Courthouse that is dated July 15th, 2024. Now, is it just me, or does this seem like a conflict of interest? That a man who claims he has worked with the city and the city council for over 40 years as an attorney would be in the business of loaning money to the sister of a sitting council member who is also the president of the council the year before he runs for mayor. How is this not a conflict? Now, the initial loan, I believe, perhaps dated before 2024. But the document dated 2024 is definitely within the window of when Keating was determining if he was going to run for mayor. Which leads me to the president of the city council, who is also the consultant for the Columbus Housing Authority, Rusty Ferdinand Walker. Walker's property, Lot 13, Block 30, in Gulfport Bayview subdivision that he owns with his wife, Corey, has raised eyebrows due to multiple instances of delinquent property taxes and external agencies paying taxes in hopes of probably acquiring that property if he remains delinquent. And it's interesting of the timing that's coinciding with some other professional controversies of Mr. Walker's. Rusty and his wife own a property described in the Harrison County court documents as Lot 13, Block 30 in Gulfport Bayview subdivisions. This property has been marked delinquent and had the taxes paid by outside agencies on May 29th, 2024, and again on April 30th, 2025. What is interesting about these dates is the first one coincides with the truck scandal and the scam at the Columbus Housing Authority, where Rusty was giving advice on coding the truck purchase and finding comps that would satisfy the requirements of HUD for fronting the money for them to buy the new vehicle. And of course, this is also when the dealership starts responding to the scam. So clearly, he might have been preoccupied at the time and his attention was diverted. He did eventually pay back the money the other entity paid for his property taxes, but how did he get upside down? And then he does it all over again less than a year later on April 30th of 2025, which is just recently. So has he paid that one back yet? I don't know. I really didn't look that far into the documents, but clearly someone else paid those taxes. I believe the most recent one was an organization called, let me look. I believe it is called Fortress Credit Realty Income. I also believe that this lot was purchased from the City of Gulfport. Now, what I don't know is when that lot was purchased. If that was before he was a member of City Council, which he began serving City Council, I think, in 2009. So would it have been before 2009, or did he purchase that property from the City of Gulfport while he was sitting member of the council? Now, what's interesting also to think about is I'm not seeing how these personal loans between Keating, Walker's father, and Walker's sister would not have needed to have been at least noted in council meeting minutes. And considering that he was acting as a general counsel of sorts for the city on, now what is not clear to me is if he was still on retainer at the time that this loan was made, but just the whole appearance of this is just strange. And so I went looking through the meeting minutes for the council during this time, a little before, a little after. There never seems to be any discussion where anybody notes that this is going on, or there's no talk of this. I just find it very interesting that with these financial entanglements, that none of them have ever come up in a council meeting for them to discuss. To say, hey, we don't see a conflict of interest, or hey, this is a potential conflict of interest, or I'm at a loss. But now I'm looking at why Rusty is not paying his property taxes. Could it be because he was overwhelmed and he forgot about them? I don't think it's financial, or it shouldn't be. He's making $4,295 a month from the Columbus Housing Authority. He's also on the dole with the cities of Natchez, Hattiesburg, Brookhaven, and McComb Housing Authorities, although I don't know how much his retainer is with them, but I would expect it's at least $2,500, if not more. And he also has some sort of contract with the City of Gulfport, plus he has his salary as a councilman for the city. So I can't imagine money should be an issue, as he appears to be a successful businessman. Or is he so encumbered with properties that his property taxes, or at least on this piece of property, seem to be always delinquent? Now, maybe that's a bit of a stretch, but 2 years in a row is a significant thing to note. He is a capital funds manager for housing authorities all over the state of Mississippi, with significant budgets all funded by HUD. He is an elected official responsible for millions of dollars for the City of Gulfport. Do they know he forgets to pay his property taxes? Did his opponent know he has a questionable track record where money is concerned? You would think that would come up in the election cycle. Is this the same man, it is on paper, who was lending? He first borrowed $1 million, $1.2 million, and then he lent $1.013 million, not even 10 years ago. This all leads me to ask, why does everything around Councilman Walker generate so many questions? He has yet to email me personally, even after I reached out to him to ask a few questions related to his role with the Columbus Housing Authority. Rusty, I'd love to hear your side of this complex business deal. If you want to share, I'm all ears. I'd love to have a better understanding of why these properties have gone delinquent. Now let's talk about why I'm asking these questions. Transparency is critical in municipal leadership. While he is a leader in his community, he's also impacting my community here in Columbus. And if he has these potential conflicts of interest in public service in Gulfport, it makes me question the conflicts of interest he has with our Columbus Housing Authority. I also question his financial management techniques and tools and capabilities. He got us mixed up in that truck scam, which was a pretty significant chunk of change. We are now $90,000 into a $60,000 truck. And he has all these interconnected professional relationships. He's clearly a good networker. There's nothing wrong with that. But with these intricate relationships and financial dealings, it creates a need for enhanced ethical oversight. Now, in his own community, there are plenty of people asking questions now about him and his lack of transparency in his financial dealings and those within his position. I asked about his lack of transparency here with the Columbus Housing Authority, and I believe that there should be enhanced ethical oversight of what he is doing on behalf of the Columbus Housing Authority, and as well as the transparency of what is he's doing on behalf of the Columbus Housing Authority and how much he's doing of the job of an executive director for Robert Guthrie, because there's very little transparency here. There's absolutely no board oversight of what Guthrie or Walker is doing, and we need some clearer guidelines for financial conduct. There is a problem where the professional and personal lines are blurred. They're challenging the fundamental principles of public service and accountability, and I think this is something that is going to bear some more scrutiny going forward, and I plan to look very closely at the most recent public records request information I received, but I am really going to be scrutinizing what I'm expecting in the near future, which are the contracts and the bids and all the things that Walker touches for the Columbus Housing Authority and our monies, as well as some other financial dealings within our housing authority that I think bears some closer scrutiny. That's it for tonight, folks. I want to thank you for coming on Tom Bigby Tales. Until next time, I'm Shannon Evans, and this is the Tom Bigby Tales.